Hello, everybody. I'm Lori Hines with Just Among Friends, and I'm here with co-host Ann Stacy of Texans for a Safe Israel, Mike Isley with Texans for Israel, and a special guest today, Suri Sacker from Dallas, Texas. This was an unplanned, unscheduled episode, but in light of recent events, this past Wednesday, 2 days ago now, there were some events in Dallas that we want you to know about in case you haven't heard. So we brought Suri on today, and she's going to tell us about what happened in Dallas, Texas, and you will be shocked. So before we get started, I just want to say thank you for joining us. If you're listening to this, please share this with your friends so the information, the truth can get out. This is one of the problems with the current situation in Israel and across the globe is the misinformation and the online war that's really going on. It's a psychological warfare. People don't understand what's really going on. So we are doing our very best to get the truth out, and you're going to hear the truth today. Okay, so our mission, of course, with Just Among Friends is to enlarge our circle of friends between Jews and Christians and to rally, support, and cultivate hearts to stand with the Jewish people and the land of Israel. So we don't back down, and we are going to continue this, and we hope that you will join this unique group of friends. So welcome. Okay, so today we have Suri Sacker. Suri is a Dallas Jewish mother.
Thank you. I really want to thank you really for taking the time, and a shout out to Virginia for putting this together.
Yes,
really, just as a soldier, really a soldier she is. So first of all, I'm the daughter of Holocaust survivors to start off with. I have 4 children, 2 boys and 2 girls that go to Jewish day school in Dallas. And we are proud Jews. We every single summer make it a goal to go to Israel. We want our children to love Israel. We want it to be part of their life. We want it to be, we don't spend money to go to other countries. That's where we put our money, and that's where we put our time and energy. And our children are very proud Jews. Our boys comfortably walk around. If they're leaving school, they wear a kippah on their heads. That just reminds them that they're under God, and that's just part of their school uniform. We'll walk into Baskin Robbins to get ice cream with their uniform on. Sometimes my son, when he's a very competitive basketball player, they wear their kippahs proudly when they play any teams across the country, to tell you the truth. The takeaway the other night, which is really alarming. Yes, go ahead.
Forgive me for interrupting you. Before we go there, I want to hear the takeaway, but tell us a little bit before you go there. Were you at the rally? Tell us about that.
So I have to tell you, or leading up in the day, I had many friends that started talking about this rally, which was to stand with Israel. And me being super Zionistic and super proud of Israel, I was scared. I didn't feel comfortable to go, to tell you the truth. And it was my birthday. And so I went to a hotel with a few of my girlfriends that night to do a little staycation. And my husband was at home with the children. And later at night, some friends joined us back at the hotel who had the courage to go to the rally themselves and had brought their children. They were terrified. They were devastated. They felt so alone. There were maybe 200, maybe 300 Jewish people, maybe not Jewish, 300 Zionists with Israeli flags, proud American flags, calmly singing beautiful songs. Let me tell you something. It was not like that on the other side. They were wearing their burqas. They were angry. They were aggressive. They were chanting things like, "We want to kill your children. We want to rape and murder your families." The next day, I was scared to send my children to school.
Wow.
You know, I mean, we're not equipped.
Well, tell us about that night they were sending us about a restaurant. They went to these protesters that were pro-Palestinian went beyond the rally. They went to one of your friends.
Well, they parked their cars at the there was a restaurant at Alpha and Preston called Aderet.
Okay.
And a number of them parked their cars there, and they changed from their day Western clothing to put on their burqas, and with quite a lot of confidence. They walked up to the restaurant, started banging on the windows, taking taking photographs of the restaurant and really trying to intimidate the owner of the kosher restaurant. She herself is Israeli. She was terrified. There was another woman in the restaurant with just a baby. They were not expecting this. And they don't know why they were taking pictures, why they were trying to really to scare them. And so yesterday the restaurant was closed. I don't know what they decided to do today, but they were trying to intimidate and they were successful.
Now you were, so this, before we go to the next question, this is so like and very similar, the BLM movement during the summer last year, starting all those riots where they would go up to restaurants and intimidate diners if they did not stand with BLM or Antifa or any of those other terroristic type of groups. So it's the same strategy, same from the playbook in my mind. That's what it reminds me of. To be terrified to go out to a restaurant for this reason is terrible. It's an
and Lori, this is what they're doing in Judea and Samaria. You know, this is what's happening in Israel.
That's right.
Also.
Absolutely.
That's right. Suri, let me ask you something. You began to say, and I stopped you just to back up a little bit because I wanted to ask you about the restaurant, but I want you to tell us what you were going to say about you're afraid for your kids now.
Yeah, I mean, listen, to tell you the truth, this is a tale as old as time. We always are fearful, but we always feel very safe because we have Israel and we have the partnership of America and Israel. I don't know what this administration is going to be like with regards to the support of Israel, to the support, therefore, of American Jews. We have been allies for a long time and pray for that continued partnership. There's an insecurity that I feel, that my family feels, and that my friends feel. We feel alone and we feel scared. And especially on social media, my 14-year-old, my 16-year-old daughter, they are at war day and night with people, with the lies that they're trying to turn around. And I'm proud of them. I'm proud of them that they have the voice. I'm proud of them that they go to a school that teaches them to love Israel and to love the Bible and to stand for right and for good and for healing the world. And so that's what they're doing. And we're helping them have the right language and the right information to help change the lies that are spreading from the Wall Street Journal to CNN to the Dallas. There was a Dallas app the other day. I mean, they take the story and the poor Palestinians, well, they just sent 4,000 rockets last week. My family, my cousins, they're hiding in shelters all last week. Their babies, their schools are closed. I mean, it's like everyone forgot about COVID already. We're at war in Israel suddenly.
Totally.
And then we're worrying about the poor Palestinians. What about the 4,000 rockets that have been shot at Israel? What about them?
And just the street violence that has emboldened them to attack Jews in the land of Israel. Just same thing. They're attacking like pilgrims in the land of Israel, which is shocking. Okay, I want to get your thoughts on a couple more things. One is, well, first I have to say to you at this moment in time, and to anybody listening, and there's a lot of we's, meaning Zionists, biblical Zionists, we stand with you, Suri, and we will wear a kippah right alongside of your children if we have to. We are not afraid. We cannot back down. If we learned anything from Donald Trump is you don't back down from the bullies, you go forward. And that's an Israeli thing too. That's the IDF thing. I mean, there's so much to be learned here. So we are with you. We will stand with you. I will be at the rally here in Austin on Sunday, and I'll be online. I'll join you online. And we're going to talk about that too. So know that you're right. You're not alone. We're here with you.
Amen.
Everything
Thank you. We can't tell you how much we appreciate that. It is such, my whole heart is full hearing that, truly.
Good. Okay, two things I want to know about the ceasefire, your thoughts on the ceasefire. And I also want to know, where we go from here. What can the average person do, even if they don't quite understand everything of what's going on? What can the average person do? Well, let's end with that. But before that, tell me about your thoughts on this supposed ceasefire.
You know, it's such a good question because, I mean, all they're doing is restocking.
That's right.
Hamas.
That's right.
You know, and So, maybe calm for a little while. And I'm sure everyone's happy to not be getting shot at right now, but
Sure.
it's just going to happen again.
Yeah.
Part of me wishes they would just go all the way.
I think you're not
Amen.
alone on that either. Right. That's right. Okay, well, we will see. We pray for a peaceful Shabbat for the Israelis and for the Jews around the world that are, feeling the same as you are. You know what? I do want to ask you one more question. What about the Jews in America who might not see the same way you see it? I have seen and heard some American Jews who have a different opinion, a different perspective. What would you say to that?
I think you're right. I think that this is the problem. We're my family, for instance, we have chosen, it's very, financially difficult for us. And we've chosen to send our kids to a Jewish day school. There's many, many Jewish people that don't do that. There's many Jewish people that have never been to Israel, that see themselves as Americans first. And that's great. But many of them haven't even been to Israel before. And I think a lot of the problem, and it really makes me sad, is our own Jewish people, that we are separated. And I pray that we come together and we unify, that Israel is our land. Doesn't matter if you're a Democrat or if you're a Republican, it doesn't matter. Israel is the only reason why we can live safely in the United States. That's it. History repeats
Amen.
itself.
It's a powerful response. Thank you, Suri. I need to pause for just 1 second, so we'll be right back. Okay, we're back. Thanks, Suri. Suri, I just wanted to end this interview with you with, in your opinion, based on everything that we've discussed, where do we go from here? What can the average person do? What are your thoughts?
That's a great question. First of all, American Airlines is about to start a direct flight from Dallas to Tel Aviv.
Wow.
So I'd like to fill that plane with influential people who care about Israel. And I want to show that we are here. We're here to support Israel. We're there we want to visit Israel. That this is not just like a passing phase of let's put a blue screen on our social media today, that this is a commitment, a lifetime commitment of partnership between Jews, non-Jews, Christians, that Israel's not alone.
That's right.
And Benji, the reason that, I appreciate you putting together the rally the other night. I just want you to know that. And, I have 4 kids that go to Akiba Yavna, and I have to tell you, based on the events and the way we felt the other night, we are scared of their security at school. We are scared of what lies around the corner. And we're not dealing with kind Christians. We're not dealing with, good, kind brothers. We're dealing with terrorists, people that are supporting terrorist organizations, and they're not shy, and they're aggressive, and they're angry. So we have a real problem.
Tell us about the social media right now, what's going on. Here it is, Friday, May something, 21st.
Yeah, so we have a group of very, strong women that have come together today. And hopefully you guys will be seeing these blue screens of how we can, instead of this whole Black Lives Matter thing, that we can stand with Israel in solidarity. And I think it's going viral. So that's good. I'm really excited about. They've got a lot of different, people that we're reaching out to, just to sort of flood social media with positive messages about Israel. And it doesn't need to be, like I said, it doesn't need to be Democrat or Republican. This is about people coming together and standing up with Israel, standing as upstanders instead of bystanders.
That's good. Okay. Well, we will.
Lori,
sure. Yes, Mike.
Sorry, I just want you to know, we're Zionists. We love the God of Israel. We love the Torah, and we love the land of Israel. And I just want you to know, we're part of many groups. I'm in a prayer group of 20,000 people. I'm gonna call them and get this going with them. But these are mostly non-Jews, Christians. but you just know that you've got millions of people and we're ready to get in a plane or get in a car and be with you in Dallas anytime. Or so you just know that we're with you. I just want you to know that.
I can't,
Thank
I
you
can't
very
tell
much.
you how much that means. It means really, I know Benji from also feels the same way. It means the world to us, really.
Well,
Never, you know.
Suri, I just want to tell you that we have flown on our flagpole, the Israeli flag, now for 6 years. And, you know, that's what we do, is host Israelis to let them come and tell their story, because really most people will never get to Israel, but we hope to bring Israel to them. And
Amen.
I just applaud you and your family for what you've done. And
Amen.
we stand
Amen.
with you.
And really, if you're ever in the situation, what's kind of interesting about our campus of our school, it was actually built to be a little bit of a microcosm of Israel, and the stones are Jerusalem stone. If you follow the longitudinal line of the school, it actually takes you right to Jerusalem. It's built, it's very modest from the outside, but everything is facing the spiritual center. Words of Torah line along the pond. It's a beautiful place. We've actually hosted all kinds of water conservation event. We had about 150 companies come, and we had the children be ambassadors, showing what some of the Israeli technology is that is on our campus. And so my goal is for it to always be a place that we can merge Texas and Israel together. All the plants are native to Texas, native to Israel. There's been a lot of thought put into this school, and we want it to be a place where we're raising leaders that are going to stand up with Israel, stand up with America, and be proud together. So I want to make sure those kids feel safe every day going to school. That's my minimum request.
Of course, spoken like a true Jewish mother. Very
exactly.
Wonderful, Suri. Well, we are so delighted that you were able to join us. If you can hang on, we want to talk to Benji now. Benji Gershon has joined us. If you need to go, Suri, we understand.
No, it's good. Thank you.
Okay, great. So now we're going to move on to meet and hear from Benji Gershon. Benji is the founder of Dallas Jewish Conservatives, and he is the organizer of the recent rally that we were just talking about with Suri that happened on Wednesday, the 19th of May in Dallas, Texas. Now, if you're watching this, Benji is on the move, so he's gonna keep his video off, but he's here with us and he's gonna speak to us today. Welcome, Benji.
Hi, thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
You're welcome. You're welcome. So we just heard from Suri about her, what happened with her and her friend's restaurant and how she feels as a Jewish mother in Dallas, Texas, with all that's going on. So we want to segue over to you and talk about really, you know, first of all, why did you, I have a few questions to ask you. One is, why did you organize this rally in Dallas this week?
Sure. Well, somebody needed to step up and do what was right and what was just and what was true for the state of Israel, for the Jewish people. And there was no other organization or group that I'm aware of that had stepped up to the plate to do so. And I've loved Israel since as far back as I can remember. Both my parents instilled that into me, the love for Israel, the love for the Jewish people. And I decided to make what was intended to be a bipartisan, pro-Israel, peaceful rally, a rally of love and support for Israel and for the IDF soldiers, the men and women who are fighting on the front lines, protecting the citizens of Israel and the land of Israel each and every day. And I invited about everybody that I could imagine, as far as whether it was a liberal-leaning organization, a conservative organization, neutral, you name it. I just wish the rally was incredible. I mean, there's love in the air. It was so just energetic and full of passion and support, and positivity from our side, and just the feeling of just wanting peace and the rockets to stop for both Israelis and the Palestinians, for that matter, because let's face it, they've been hijacked by Hamas, an evil terrorist regime that is they could have an oasis over there in Gaza. But unfortunately, they decided to use the millions of dollars that sadly, much of it is coming from our own administration that we have right now. They're deciding to use it instead of economic relief, quote unquote, it's being used for rockets. instead of for coronavirus shots. So they've been hijacked by that regime, and so we just want to see peace in the region, and that's all we can pray for. But to my other point, I just wish my one thing I did wish that would happen was that the other Jewish organizations that I reached out to would have had more buy-in. I was met with a cold shoulder and with either utter silence. The silence was deafening from some of the organizations, or I was met with disdain or, just not interested, which is very sad, because this is a time that we as Jews need to come together. It's not a political issue. It should not be a political issue or a wedge issue, Israel. It should be all Jews coming together in support for the land of Israel and the safety and security of Israel. And then you see these anti-Semitic attacks on the rise. It's been on the rise for a while now, but it's really now on the rise. They're emboldened. What's happening is now people are emboldened. And why is it that the Jewish people, and sorry to go on a little bit of a tangent here, but why is it that the Jewish, our Jewish brothers and sisters care more about the Black Lives Matter and Asian hate hashtags? Why is there not a Jewish Lives Matter hashtag?
Right.
Why is that not happening?
So Benji, that's what we were trying to do today. Shiva Beck and Angela Horowitz and a big group of women. We want to see what happens. We're really trying to let it go viral with the thought of blue, the blue out screen and fighting anti. So I think that, but we'll see. I even said to my sister-in-law, are my niece and nephew who are Biden supporters and who have, are quite liberal. They were the first ones to be putting up Black Lives Matter. Well, let's see what happens when it comes to taking care of their own people.
Right.
Yeah, would love to see that. You're right. It shouldn't be one way or the other. It should be equal across the board if they're going to do all of them,
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And unmute yourself. Go ahead. Sorry, there was some feedback.
Yeah, okay. No, this just reminds me, I wish I had the exact quote, but it's pretty close to this, that Martin Luther King Jr. said that, it's not the words of our enemies that hurt, it's the silence of our friends. And, I experienced that in what I try to do, people that I think that I've loved, and I know they love me, but, they just silence.
Yes.
Silence. And I know every one of us has that same experience. Yes, it's the silence of our friends, people who you've invested your lives into, known them for 40, 50 years, and they're just sit there. So yes, I understand what you're saying, Benji.
Yes.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
Empathies for sure. So, okay, let me ask you this. Were you surprised at the disproportionate turnout on both sides? It seems like I saw the video of the rally, and what I noticed two things. One, there was a huge turnout for the pro-Palestinians, and so I was wondering if you were surprised about that. And my second question, or my second observation on that is, it's so clear in that video who the aggressors are. The Israeli supporters never went across the street to the Palestinian side, but the Palestinians walked across the street to the Israeli side and got close enough to shake hands. I mean, it was dangerous. Anything could have happened. Anything could have happened. And it was clear who the aggressor was. That was shocking, until finally the Dallas police showed up and pushed them back. What are your thoughts on this?
Yeah, well, I do want to start off by thanking the Dallas police and SWAT, because thank God they were there. I will say that I was privy to the entire security situation from well before the rally. We had our own private security team, in addition to police, SWAT, and other intelligence organizations in the city. So they were actually there, but they just weren't necessarily in position until because they're not security, so they can't act in the same way as security does by just standing there. So they have to be more reactive in a way. It's kind of strange. But anyhow, so to your first question though, I'm not surprised that they had the numbers that they had, because unfortunately they're more unified. than the Jewish people. I hate to even say that. It makes me sick to say that.
Yes.
But they were organized in that sense because they don't have any organizations that are pro-Palestinian or Muslim that are saying, oh, we can't do an event with you, because you think this way politically, or that way Jew, or that way, from a Muslim standpoint, from a religious standpoint. So anyhow, that wasn't surprising to me. And as far as our side, I'm just so happy and thankful for all the people that did come out and support. I know there's a lot of people have a lot of stuff going on. People are busy, and there's just a lot going on right now. But I was pleased to see just the passion and also the restraint from our side, because as you to your second point, as you said, they were the aggressors. I know that there were some bottles thrown at our direction.
Yep.
I know that there was instigators coming over to the fence. We, as Israelis, I love them. They're passionate people. They stand up for what they believe in, and they're not afraid. They're just incredible people.
Yeah.
But I tried to get people away from the fence because I didn't want, just purely from a safety standpoint. Believe me, I understand. I want to be right there on the front lines with them. That being said, I don't want to fuel their hate. That's all they want to do. They want to get a reaction out of us. And so I just try to do my best to bring people kind of back to the center, back to the speakers, back to the music, and doing chants that way. But nobody on our side did anything wrong. Everyone on our side, all the signs you saw on our side were very, very peaceful. There was no profanity or vulgar stuff being thrown out there. The signs were not vulgar like the other side had, all sorts of stuff, profanities being thrown and terrible signs. So yeah, I'm just happy with how we responded overall, and I'm happy that the police were there to keep everybody safe, and thank Baruch Hashem, we had God on our side that day. So,
always 100%,
yeah.
Always and forever. Well, we applaud you, your efforts, what you're doing in Dallas to try to do everything you're doing, rally support, unify the Jewish people, show support for Israel. And we, of course, we've already said this, but we'll say it again. We here, Ann and Mike and myself and many of our friends stand with you as well. So this brings me to the last question, which is, in your opinion, Benji, where do we go from here? Where do you go from? What can we do? What can the average person do to move forward?
Yeah. So, and I actually alluded to this the other day on my post on Facebook. I mean, I don't think we need to stop at this point. I think this is, there's a ceasefire right now. We'll see how long that holds.
Yeah.
But ultimately, each and every one of us can organize in whether it's our city or our suburb or our town. We can all organize and get together for other rallies and other shows of support for Israel. Okay. There's no reason why it has to stop here. So okay. I think you need to support Israeli businesses. We need to support Israeli charities. Yes. We need to obviously visit Israel if we can and give our support from a monetary standpoint and our time. We need to pray. We need to pray every single day for the safety and security of Israel and the IDF soldiers who are fighting over there. We need to pray that Hamas is obliterated from the face of the planet. Yes. And that we can live in peace and not have a constant flow of rocket fire from above. But we need to take action, whether it's a fundraiser, a rally, another pro-Israel event. We need to speak out against anti-Semitism and pro-BDS hate in our community. It's happening all over. Why are we so afraid? We should not be afraid. All Jews, I don't care what side of the aisle, left, right, white, black, yellow, green, doesn't matter. It's use your voice and speak out against the injustices and the humanitarian crisis that's being caused by Hamas. Yes. Speak out against what's going on and do whatever you can, even if it's $5. Support the IDF, support Israel. But I've been asked already. I just make a note of this to kind of close out. I've been asked to do rallies in Plano and in Fort Worth.
Right.
I'm looking and seeing if there's a way to do that. Obviously, I need sponsors. I need people to help put this thing together. Yeah. It's a big undertaking, but it's I'm just a regular person, just like everybody else, and there's no reason why we can't have multiple of these pro-Israel shows of support or rallies across the city. And also, and I just want to again put it out there that it's meant to be bipartisan. Obviously, I run a conservative organization, and it's mostly people that are, you know, middle to the right as far as politically leaning. But this is something that I want the Federation to be involved in. I want the other synagogues I reached out to. You know, I reached out to every Reform and conservative synagogue. The only ones that decided they wanted to be involved were the Orthodox ones. It's very interesting. So I just want everyone to be involved, and we need to all stick together as Jews right now. This is a time for unity, and there's never been a more crucial time than right now. So I'll leave it at that. I really appreciate the time.
Wonderful.
Benji,
Wonderful.
you've got 3 radical non-Jews on your team today. So, and we're going to bring all our friends together. So we're so proud of you, brother. Proud of you.
Well,
Thank you.
we are going to give it our best shot for sure, because we have the same problem on our side, getting people to get off their keyboards and out of their recliners and into the streets. And so we're doing our what we can on our side too. So thank you both for joining us, Suri Sacker and Benji Gershon, and Mike and myself.
Amen.
We applaud you, we stand with you, and we wish you only success. So
Thank you.
know that we are with you, and thank you for joining us, and we wish you a Shabbat Shalom.
Thank you so
Shabbat
much.
shalom.
Appreciate it.
Thank
Shabbat shalom.
Shalom.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.